today. He's an X Games gold medalist, a multiple-time national champion, various disciplines, and holds the record for Race Across America. Please welcome Phil Tinstman to the stage. Woo! Owner and founder and designer at Betty Defines, Miss Kristin Mayer. Hi, Kristin. Multiple-time national cyclocross champion, Dirty Kansas podium finisher Jake Wells is with us today. Noted downhill specialist, cross-country racer, and I think she just came off a Sea Otter win up there last week. Nice job, Miss Leeann Fiolka. And CEO of Source Endurance Coaching. He himself will be racing at Dirty Kansas as well tomorrow with us, Mr. Adam Mills. Kristin, I want to start with you. Last year after the Belgian Waffle ride, you wrote a really poignant piece on your experience and what it meant to train, and what it meant to compete, and what it meant to finish. I think that'd be a great place to start. Maybe you can share some of those thoughts and feelings and what goes into it and kind of how you brought about it last year and why you even considered coming back this year.
Is it working?
Should be. I can hear you.
Can you guys hear me? A little louder? Okay. So one of the big things is once you do this, you have to come back. It's just like, it's like triathlon. Once you do one, you're hooked. So game over. So if you're a first timer, I really recommend you just soak it all in. It really is the most unique one-day experience on a bike. The energy of the spectators, the volunteers. You'll see tomorrow morning just kind of the vibrations around the starting line. Everyone's all mixed together, and it's just super rad. And when I thought about doing it, I really had no business showing up. I don't love the dirt. I'm not great on the dirt. I'm actually scared of the dirt. If you ride near me tomorrow, you'll hear me squealing when my tire slides. But what I found is to overcome all of these things and be out there with a bunch of people, and you're laughing and squealing and, bonking and sweating and crying, you bond together and you walk away with this amazing experience. And one thing that happened last year, which was first time, I thought I was really badass, and I was in the first section of the course on Lake Hodges, and I couldn't see in front of me because I was following some guy, hit a rock, went right up and over the bars. First time I've ever done that. And I was really fortunate, bounced, jumped right back up and said, wow, that was kind of neat. I didn't even really hiccup, and I just kind of kept going. The guys all behind went, whoa! And I don't know, that the adrenaline kind of carried me through the day. I'm hoping they took that specific rock out of the course for tomorrow, because I know there's been a lot of trail work. And I don't know, as the day goes on, you ride with different people, you see different people at aid stations, like encourage them to go with you, ride together. If you were at the dinner last night, Michael talked about it. Really find some people and go through this experience, because it's really what it is. A lot of you might race as well, and that's awesome, and you should totally do that if that's your stick. But if you're kind of cruising, come join us. You won't be able to miss us tomorrow. That's all I'm going to say. So.
Well said, thank you. Or watch out for Kristin Rock. The Kristin Rock is still there. That's memorialized along the side of the lake. There's a little outpost you can stop and take a breather. Adam, for you, as a coach, as an esteemed, noted coach and owner of one of the top coaching businesses out there, is equipment choices something that you work on with their athletes as you're building up to a big event like this?
Absolutely. Equipment choice, it only matters if you think you have something to lose, like a finger or a hand or some skin, or if you just want to make sure you have a good time. And we work with our clients on selecting the right equipment for whatever you want to do. This event's really cool because it's 100-ish miles of pavement and 40-ish miles of not pavement, with some water crossings and a little bit of everything. So there's not a perfect setup for everything. There's setups that are great for a lot, and then other stuff you're gonna flail. And depending on the rider, you just have to pick what's best for them, and we help people work with that and make sure that they're optimizing their experience and their abilities.
A quick follow-up to that is there's horses for courses. With that concept, do you look at the course the rider will be racing on and help that determine the tire choice as well? And maybe answer that with respect to yourself. Is the tire you're going to choose for tomorrow the same thing you'd consider for Dirty Kansas a few weeks from now?
So to compare the two, absolutely not. Tomorrow's tire that I'll be riding is the IRC Sirac Sand Cross 32. It has little knobs on the sidewalls for those special moments when you're leaning the bike all the way over saying, oh no. And for Dirty Kansas, something much more wide, more voluminous, a lot different surface in each event. So yeah, totally different, but hopefully it'll be the best for me on both days.
Jake, first of all, will you be running gears tomorrow? We actually have gears on your bike.
Yes.
Okay, good start. You might need them. The one is just going to do too damn long. And then racing at the elite level that you do, how do you look at something as important as a tire choice? And you've raced this race a couple times and had some great finishes, but what do you consider when it comes to building up that bike right before the event?
Similar to what Adam was just touching on with really your goal for the day. For me, coming out this time of year, my main focus is just to get a big day on the bike. Last year I came in hoping to be a little bit more competitive, so I was really kind of pushing the line of what was maybe sustainable out there as far as tire width but really having weight being the primary driver, so weight and rolling resistance. So this year I'm going with a little bit wider setup, mostly just because I want to make sure that I'm able to take advantage of some of the mixed surface conditions, and then not so concerned about the paved sections and some of the climbing.
Phil, you probably more than that, guys. We'll figure out this whole AV thing by about 4:30 this afternoon. Phil, you probably more than anybody know this area, the roads, the terrain, and you and Michael did a full recon on the entire course on Wednesday. Can you give us an update on what it looks like? Is Sandy Bandy really 4 foot deep? Is there alligators and quicksand and things like that we have to concern ourselves with?
Yeah, we rode it on Wednesday, and it was actually like super enjoyable. It was a day like today. It was cloudy and cool in the morning, then it cleared up, and there is surprises, like they were grading Black Canyon, which it sounds great for everybody because it's going to be nice and smooth, but it also means it could be really soft. So they had the first part graded, and I think they were doing the whole thing. There were a lot of frogs out by Mule Trail. There's a couple hundred little frogs on this concrete pad, which was kind of cool. So you might want to stop and just say hi to them. Sandy Bandy was nice. It was like the rain we had this last week helped a lot, and it packed it down pretty good to where you could actually fly through a lot of sections that were soft before. So I think conditions are going to be optimum and as a whole, and it's going to be a really fun, fast day.
Sounds like it. Leeann, what do you keep? This is a very personal question. I'm sorry if it doesn't offend you. What do you keep in your tool bag for a race like tomorrow?
All right, well, in my tool bag, of course, I have tire irons because I have carpal tunnel and arthritis in my hand. I'm the only one with an AARP on this card and this panel. But, so I always carry 2 quick fills because I always certainly mess up on the first one, extra tube. And this year I'll be using a product called GUP, and that'll be actually attached to my bike. It's inflates the tire. It's got sealant and air all in one. It's a one shot, and they work very well. So quick turnaround time, shitty flat.
Is there any advice, technique that you use that you could give that would help somebody avoid a puncture or avoid a flat? What's your riding style like that helps you even avoid those to begin with?
Well, being a retired professional mountain bike downhiller, I have a tendency to choose my own line. So I try and stay away from following someone else's line. And I'm certainly very cautious. I started racing when we didn't have suspension, front or rear. And so I'm able to pick probably a very solid line that won't puncture my tire. So I think that's an advantage. Just go a little slower than you normally would on a cross-country race on mountain biking. So.
Adam, kind of same question for you. When you're working with your athletes and you're out riding or training with them, we did 4 of those recon rides throughout this area. Is there advice you can give a rider in terms of how to tackle some of these tougher sections, the more technical ones that maybe some of the pure roadies might not be used to out here?
So that kind of goes back on the last question that I answered, which was pick your equipment. On the recon ride, I think it was last Sunday, we saw a lot of great riders going fast, having fun, and they just outran their equipment. Sometimes the tire you choose that's amazing and light and fast for going up like Highland Valley can't go on the dirt and the rocks as well, so you got to slow down, because a tire with air in it will always roll faster than a tire without air in it. So
science, people, that's just science.
That's a science fact. So keep that in mind. If you give up one spot and a handful of seconds through the dirt, through a rock garden, that's not a big deal. If you send it through the rock garden and you rip your tire, then you are indeed walking, which is actually slower again than a tire without an air in it at all, which you can still roll. So mind your equipment, know what your equipment's good at getting you through and what it is not great for, and just ride to the ability of your equipment is a great piece of advice. That being said, know your own skill level. We have an X Games downhill gold medalist right here, and a guy with like a whole closet full of national champion jerseys, and then these 2 esteemed ladies who are amazing athletes in their own right, and their skill level, if you're following any of them, may not be the same as yours. So just keep that in mind as well. Just because the guy or woman in front of you can do it doesn't always mean that you can do it.
I learned that phrase from Phil. Something happened one time and Phil just smiled his quirky smile and says, "Hey, you just ran out of skill." It happens to us every now and then. Phil, again, I'll get personal with you. What tire would you recommend? What did you run out here on Wednesday when you pre-rode the course?
Oh God. Here's a difficult thing is it depends 100% on your goal, right? And so when Adam deals with his athletes, it's like, what's your goal? Is it to finish? Is it to go for the win? Is it something else? And like the tire that I ran on Wednesday is not the tire that I would race. It's like I ran the 40 Boken because it's like I've been reconning on that tire. It's super fun. I have more fun in the dirt because it's a 40C tire. It's a little slower on the road, for just overall riding, but for training and all that, I'm cool with that. It's like I have no problem going slower on the road, So if you're riding to finish the event, I think Adam and Leeann, as far as I know, are running like a 32C Serac sand, and it's like, that's a fast rolling tire. That's perfect for the event. Like, I think that's probably the most perfect tire for the majority of people to run. With that said, I think the event will probably more than likely be won on something like a 28C tubeless road tire, because you have pros who are really good in the dirt that can ride, like their skill level is really good, but they're going to need the advantage on the road. So, it's like, is that fun? Not necessarily. It's like, I've done the event a lot of times. I've ended up second twice, and both of those were on road tubular tires, like that I would use like in a road race. But at the time, it wasn't like tubeless was so popular. It's like we needed something that didn't pinch flat, that was fast, and it was light. So with all the new development in tire tread and tubeless and all that, there's no reason to not run anything like a 32C tubeless tire. It's fun.
Kristin, I know you're tied very closely in the triathlon world. Triathletes would call it a special needs bag. Is there anything that you keep with you on your ride that helps you get over the tough parts of a ride, or something that just makes you feel good, a little inspirational quote on your handlebars or pictures of somebody?
You know, I don't really have a special needs bag per se. The one thing that I've had the last couple years out here is my son waiting on Double Peak. So if that is not motivation to get to the top of Double Peak and then roll downhill to the finish, I don't know what is. And the second thing is, not that you're second, honey, but I ride with my husband all day, and if I don't stay on his butt, I am in deep, deep trouble. So I've got family motivation.
So the rule there is find a good wheel, right? And be able to have match your motivation to chase them to make sure.
Yeah, and then to have my son waiting on Double Peak, so I know I need to get there, give him a high five.
That's beautiful. Can't wait to see that. That's awesome. Jake, knowing what you've got on the schedule here, what's an average training week for you like? How much volume are you putting in? How much intensity comes with that? What's in the life of a pro? And I know you've got a job and coaching athletes and keeping people fit, but to compete at the level that you do, give us an idea of the type of work that goes in on a weekly basis.
Well, I think it fluctuates quite a bit depending on what I've got going on, what events are coming up, and then just what I have going on in life. You know, like you said, I have a family and I have a business that I'm running as well. And so, you know, for me to be considered in that kind of quote-unquote pro category, it's pretty loose interpretation, I would say. I do race at the elite level, but you know, doing some of these type events, you know, that are more of a, it's a lot easier to not quantify the result. You know, it's as much of a adventure and a challenge for you personally as it is a result. So I've been trying to dive into more of those type of events as I've gotten further along in my racing career. So you know, right now with this event coming up, and then in preparation for this event, and then ultimately pushing toward the DKXL in about 4 weeks, I'm doing a lot of low intensity but high volume.
What's high volume? Give us are we 80, 90 miles a day, or were we like 150?
So this will be my longest training ride thus far, so 140 tomorrow, but it kind of slots right into my training. And then so I've done quite a few 100-mile rides already this year. Also with the DKXL, we start at 3 p.m., so riding into the night is something that I think you really need to kind of show your body to get used to, so it's not such a shocker whenever your body's telling you should be asleep right now at 3 a.m. So I've been doing some long rides, but also at night. After this weekend, I'll have about 2 more weeks of real training before DKXL, and then I'll get in one more big day, which will be somewhere between 175 and 200 miles.
Awesome. Leeann, what are you most looking forward to tomorrow, and what tires will be on your bike, and why?
Well, I tried several of the models of IRC the past few weeks, and I really enjoy the CX with the edge. I think just having that advantage in the dirt for me, knowing that I have an edge so I can be a little bit more aggressive in the corners helps. It's got a nice rolling edge, so it'll roll nice on the pavement as well.
Good choice. How about Miss Kristin? What tire are you going to end up going with tomorrow after all the rigorous testing you put the bike through and the number of tire changes you made your husband do at home at night?
Well, it's really funny, and I probably am going against everything being set up here because I play to my strength in the sense of I want to get to the finish line as fast as possible, and the majority of this course is road-based. I don't love the dirt, like I've mentioned. I'm a little skittish on the dirt, but I don't want to carry a heavy or a treaded tire on all that road. I want to maximize my speed on the road. So I go with a 28 smooth tire. I'm riding the Formula Pro 28 tubeless tomorrow. And I've ridden the 28. This will be the 5th year on a 28 for me.
Okay. I don't need to hog the spotlight. Is there anybody in the audience or the crowd that has a question for our panel? Guys like to chat it up with them. Talk to your pro day here at the BWR. Phil, any other pieces of advice? I mean, a lot of this comes down. We know it comes down to luck. Certainly, if you're trying to contend or go for a PR or something like that, good racing luck never hurts. But in a lot of respects, this is an eating and drinking contest, right? Like, maybe both you and Adam can touch on this. How important is that, and what should these riders consider as they're out there for what is going to be at least 7 hours for the majority of them?
Well, like, this event is very unique, and for many reasons, and one is, all the factors you have for nutrition, equipment, training, luck is a big one, all come into play, and everything's a calculated risk, right? It's like if you go faster here, but you risk missing the corner, or it's like, one of the misconceptions is if I run more air pressure, it's faster on the road, and that's, I can tell you after years of training on these tires and things, that's not true. I don't think a lot of times like you even roll faster on the road, you just give up a lot of handling in the dirt because it is so loose and marbly and things like that. Nutrition is super important. If you don't eat often and drink plenty, it's like it will bite you in the ass and you'll be walking up double peak without a doubt. I've been there, it's like
Kristin's son will actually be there to push us.
Kristin's son will be there to push everybody up double peak, so that's great.
I'll make sure to brief him tonight.
But that's part of the, it's a chess match with your body, basically in trying to finish and trying to do your best, and accomplishing that. So there's, really methodically think about everything that you have going on and just plan it out. Use that Todd Toot sticker you have in your reg bag to know which sections are coming up and when, and eat and drink before you get into those dirt sectors, because otherwise it's very difficult to do so. Get through the dirt, find other people on the other side, form a group, everybody rotate through, and that's how you're going to get through the day.
Adam, since you're our resident scientist, I'll kick this to you. But the scientists in your community will tell us that the body can only absorb about 300 calories or so an hour, yet these athletes are going to burn anywhere from 4,000, 5,000 calories on the day. There's the in and out, it just doesn't work. What is your advice as a coach in terms of that nutrition and hydration strategy to make sure that you can even get through an event like this?
So first off, we should all be fit enough by now, since you've probably all known you're going to do this event for a few months, that you should be ready for it. So doing your homework is the first key. Second, like Phil said, eat early, drink early and often. At the survival camp that we do in January, I had a brief presentation, and one of them was like the median finisher. So the middle finisher for the waffle ride is 10 hours-ish. The middle finisher for the wafer is almost 6. So you're looking at an epic day, one way or the other. I think people think the wafer is short. The wafer is still super hard. So knowing that you have to eat early and often, pace yourself. So for example, we did the recon rides, and everyone just throttled it full stick all the way up the Highland Valley climb. I don't remember the day of terminology for that sector. The top of Highland Valley, guys, is only 23 miles in. So if you're doing the waffle, I mean, good news, you have 110-ish to go. The bad news is you just gassed everything and you have 110 miles to go. So understand that if you're with the group and they're going a little bit too hard, maybe just announce to them, you all know that 110 miles remain at the top of this 45-minute climb. And if you do that and they slow down, then you already have a group for the rest of the day, in theory. And if they ride away from you anyway, then you probably don't need to be in that group to begin with, because they're going to go faster than you want to go all day long. And it gets, like Phil said, it gets really ugly later in the day.
I've always made myself feel better when the group rides away from me. That's just not my group today. I'm going to ride with this group because they're more sensible and paced more appropriately. So that's great advice, because it's a battle of attrition, and you've got to stay hydrated. You've got to stay keeping calories coming in, because the output is just so significant. Want to wrap up unless there's any other questions from our audience. Please, sir.
I was just going to say this is probably daily $8 short for anybody making tire selection today, but I talked to Phil in 2016 for my first waffle, And I said, Duke, what should I ride? And he goes, just ride your road bike, your Mozzie Carbon, and 28 gator skins, 87 pounds, and I've been doing that ever since. And of course, what you're talking about, like it depends on your skill level too, and it comes from a pro downhill racing experience. So I'm not very good on the road, so I need all the help I can get on the road, and I'm not in contention for a win. I just like to finish with a decent, respectable time.
So with all that in mind, given what the gentleman was asking about, is there a specific tire lineup or in the IRC lineup that you might recommend for that?
Yeah, for that, there's a Formula, which is what I believe Kristin is running, which is a 28C. It can be run tubeless or with a tube. Works amazing. It has tread around all the sidewall as well, so it helps a lot with sidewall cuts and from rocks and things like that.
That's awesome. All right, well, final question. Most of you already told us which tire. The more important question now is tire pressure and your respective spirit animal. Leeann, I want to start with you. What tire pressure are you going to run, and what's your spirit animal? What are you channeling when you're out there on the back end of Black Canyon, suffering amid the beautiful oak tree canopied climb? What is going to be running through your mind?
A chupacabra?
You're probably very close by, probably within 15, 20 miles of one.
Yeah, and I'll be running 50 to 55 pounds of pressure.
Okay, perfect. Ms. Kristin.
I'm going to get in trouble for this, especially from Steve. I used to run 80 to 85. I'm going to be running 70 tomorrow.
That is scandalous. The whole audience just gasped. That was
I know.
breaking news here. We're told this is breaking news.
And my spirit animal, oh my gosh, I don't know. I'm going to have to say my little cavalier dog I'm going to be channeling, and I'm going to find peace and happiness and smile the whole way out there.
Beautiful. Nick, how about you, brother?
So I'll be on a 30 millimeter tire, and I'll probably run 35 or so PSI, right around there.
Okay.
Spirit animal has been a coyote this year.
It's all that night riding.
Yeah, I guess so.
Phil, I know you're not going to ride.
Correct. I will be in the lead vehicle, like chauffeuring around like a photographer and taking care of the front group. But had I been riding, I'd probably ride like a 30C, like something similar to what Jake is riding, like a 30C tubeless road tire kind of thing. And I'd say my spirit animal is a Liger.
Nice. Very nice. Adam.
So I'm going to be riding the Serac Sand 32 cyclocross tires. Final tread's a little bit of the sidewall knobs on it. I have them paired with a set of Envy G23 gravel wheels, and I just go by the Envy tire pressure guide, which says like 34 to 36 PSI, and they actually have a pressure station across the way over there, so you guys can check all your own tires. You know, I tend to run a little bit low, although that's what the instructions say, so I'm going with it. My spirit animal is probably my dog Duke, who's a Whippet Pointer mix.
Nice.
Yeah.
Duke. Get after it, Duke. Big round of applause for our panelists. Thank you very much. Appreciate your insight. The nice folks at IRC and VeloFix have the entire lineup of IRC tires available at a discounted price, and you can also get them installed and put on your bike today right there at VeloFix. So please head over there and check them out. All the ones we were talking about here this morning will be available for you. Panelists, thank you guys very much. You're good fun. Appreciate it. Stick around. At noon, we will have the first of our rider briefings. If you're a first